Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you all. We're still working on unlock challenge stuff, unlock progress stuff. So I did a bunch of work yesterday. I had to refactor a bunch of code for the challenges and everything. I'll show you what it all looks like. But I think I'm happy with the approach that I'm taking for the display and everything, and the toast as well, the challenge progress toast. So we're going to go over all that. I need to review that code anyway. I haven't looked at it since 1 a.m. last night. So I need to just refresh myself on what's going on. And then we can do a couple of other things. The main thing that I want to figure out how to do is show players when they get a new unlock point. So I'm showing challenge progress. I just need to show when players get a new unlock point. And then what else? There's a bunch of different bugs and issues, actually, if I take a look at the Obsidian board here. Okay, well, there's just a couple of issues. That's not really helpful. All right, anyway. Before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting. So definitely wishlist it if you're interested. We're currently working towards making another playtest available, so I'm just editing a bunch of stuff, changing, balancing, adding features, all that good stuff. If you want to support the game's development, you could do so on Patreon. Subscribing to either tier, being an active subscriber of either tier will get you access to the playtest, so you may want to wait until I have a playtest date for you all. If you want to sign up and get early access to the playtest will be available to everyone though, so you don't need to pay anything to get access to the playtest. Patreon members will get early access, but Patreon members also get special perks if you subscribe at this tier for at least 1 month or more. I will send you an Alchemortis Steam key for the full game when it launches, and your name will be listed in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So definitely consider that if that sounds interesting. You could also purchase my courses. Those are on Udemy. The links for all that stuff are in the description below. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. Hello, Louis. I summoned? I guess so. I guess so. Hello, Clickertail. Welcome back. Budget Jim, good to see you. Hello, Kelso. Good to see you again. Welcome. Alrighty, so let me show you what I've got going on. So basically, I spent almost all of yesterday getting this challenge stuff to work. Why is that wrong? Low background. This progress is all the way up. Okay. So I've got these progress vial things. These are basically just progress bars. I just did up the art that we did yesterday on stream, just cleaned it up, add highlights, bring it in line with the style of everything else. This text does cause the decoration to grow, so that's dynamic, which is actually one of the problems that I have, but you can see that as that grows, the text grows, it just pushes it out, keeps everything very nice and neat. I was able to simplify the structure of this too because I remembered that offset transform was the thing. So a lot of these things are basically just stacked on top of each other, but with their offset transforms manipulated to be in the right spot. So yeah, so that's that. And then I have this challenge progress toast. I'm actually going to rename this stuff. I actually have this challenge progress toast now. This will show up after you make progress on a challenge. So if I look at the run overview, we could take a look at what that looks like. Any day now. Any day now. So here's what the challenge progress looks like in the run overview. You can see that it fills up. I have to update the text. I wonder why the text isn't updating actually. Did I do something wrong? Well, I guess we got to figure out why that text isn't updating. But, so that little toast will pop up, and that will show you any challenges that you made progress towards. So it'll just fill up like that. It'll go out. It'll show all the challenges that you made progress towards. Of course, it will show you the challenges that you completed first. And then I want to do some kind of animation for like a skill point unlock or something, or an unlock point. So the way that that works is rather, I mean, maybe it's not interesting. But basically what I'm doing is let me go to my run statistics manager. So during a run, I'm storing run statistics. These are all the things that happen during a run. But there's also a global statistics, and that contains a run statistics object inside of it. But this global statistics, basically, this is the amalgamation. This is the merging of all of your individual run statistics into this big object. So this is like your totals, right? Your total statistics across all runs. And so what I do to determine which challenges made progress, it's relatively simple, right? I check, or I just get the challenge progress for both states, right? So unlock check context for previous, unlock check context for current, get challenge progress. So this get challenge progress, this requires this context object, which requires the global and the current run statistics. And the reason for that is because I may need to add those two numbers together, because this run statistics object here does not get merged into the global statistics until after this point in time. So when I check unlock progress, those statistics are not in the global statistics, but that's actually a good thing, because what I can do basically is just supply an empty run statistics object to check what the current value of the challenge progress is, and then supply the run statistics value to check what the new progress value will be. And then it's just a matter of filtering down all of those challenges to just the ones where the values have changed between previous and current. And then to determine if a challenge is complete is basically just making sure that these values are equal. So that, current is equal to max or whatever. So yeah, so this will happen anytime you end the run. So on abandoned or on win or on defeat, any of those things, it'll pop up that toast. And yeah, so there's a couple of problems though. I don't know why it's not displaying the text. So we'll have to fix that. The other problem is as the text gets animated, it's shifting the, around the decoration. So I need to figure out what I'm gonna do about that. I need to figure out what I'm gonna do about that. Probably also change the interior liquid colors for the vial when you complete the challenge. So yeah, we'll do something like that. Hello, Two Socks, welcome. How's the progress going? It's going really well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing? Hello, Emerson, welcome back. Good to see you. Give me 1 second here, real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. So let's figure out why this challenge progress toast is not displaying the text properly. So this is just a tween. The toast is very easy. It's just a tween and queue, right? So I NQ, so I process all the data. I NQ every piece of data, which basically is just like, what is the challenge object? What's the previous progress snapshot? What's the current progress snapshot? And then it's just a matter of like inside of displayed toast, I just set up all my tweens to tween the position of that panel up. We instantiate and then configure the progress item. Oh, I think this is why. Progress item.set challenge. I don't think I'm ever doing that. Okay, so that will probably be fixed now. But yeah, it's just a matter of setting up the tween, setting up the progress item, and basically at the end of the tween, that progress item will get freed, and then it calls display toast again. And basically this just keeps looping until the queue count is 0. So as long as there's items in the queue, it will just keep dequeuing and playing this in a loop. Pretty straightforward, I would say. But let's see if it updates the text now. Acquire 100 undead items. Yes, good. Win a run at difficulty 4. Well, so that's not real challenge data. When I run the run overview screen from just the run scene button, just this button here, F6, I'm actually constructing a custom object for testing. So this is just an object that I'm hard coding for testing purposes. It's not related to anything real. So I just slapped some challenges in here with some nonsensical current and max values just to see if it works. Because like this system is agnostic as to whether the challenge is real or not. The only thing it requires is that the challenge ID actually points to something real, but it doesn't care if the challenge progress is like, it could be whatever. So yeah, so that's a very nice way of just testing everything. I don't have to go through the whole like game loop just to see the toast. I could just run this screen with data. Now I haven't actually tested that the data is making it here from a real run. So that is one thing I definitely need to do, but I figured probably better to get all the features of this system done first, and then I could fix whatever, because the remaining issues are basically just going to be, oh, the data is not getting to the place where it needs to be, right? Which should be relatively simple. But I'm more interested in solving all the hard parts right now. So anyway, fix challenge toast text. Oh, and then the other thing I can show you real quick before we start getting into the meat of it is I can show you what it looks like in the challenge list. Unlock tree challenge list. There it is. All these have 0 progress, but so yeah, I think that looks nice. I may do some more effort to like separate these things out, and I do want to create bifurcation between the completed challenges and the in progress challenges. So probably we'll just stick the completed challenges at the end. And then what I'll also do is I'll probably sort the list by how close you are to completing something. So we'll surface the one that you're closest to completing at the top, and then we'll just order by descending from there. I think this text could also use a little bit of alignment. I think I would like to push it over. Actually, let's do that right now. Let's do that right now, because I think I would very much like that if that was over more. So let's put a margin container there. Okay. Does this have a custom minimum size? It does not. Okay, this rich text label, margin container. Let's do, I guess it's gonna be like a margin of like 2 or 4, 3. Let's just make it a margin of 3. Does that look better? Oh, thank you for the gifted membership, Snupbill. Appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Noah received a gift membership. Very nice. Thank you, Snupbill. That's very generous. Appreciate that. With the message yummers, as always. Thank you, Snupbill. Okay, so that looks better, I think. Those kinds of things, they seem really minor, like the paddings and margins and stuff, but being consistent with your margins and making everything very nicely aligned it actually makes a huge difference in whether your UI looks good or kind of off. So if you're like, man, my UI looks off, I don't know why, the first thing you should look at is your margins. Are you being consistent with your margins? Are you lining everything up? And sometimes it's annoying, right? Sometimes you have to do like a bunch of structure just to get a margin that you need to have, but I do think it is important to get your margins under control and to do things very consistently. That goes a long way. It's like an art style, right? Like, you know, when you're doing your art for your game, you want all the art to look and feel very similar, because if they're different, it's going to look kind of off. It's going to look like a hodgepodge mess. And it's the same with UI, with margins and whatnot. You know, you need to have a very consistent margin and padding style that you apply everywhere. Anyway, currently coding the health component for my character, and I wonder, how do I set up the health scaling? My game has dungeons and depths, so I think I'm going to scale the enemy's health based off of that. But the characters, I think, I'll have to implement a leveling system. Then again, how does a character's health scale based on levels? So the health component shouldn't be worried about any of that, right? It depends on how you define your scaling, but your scaling for your health values would be defined elsewhere. So for example, a common thing to do is to use a curve to define the scaling. And that could just be like a curve resource that you define like in the editor, right? And then what you could do is you could expose a scale for curve method on your health component, right? So your health component will accept like what is the base health, and then you could pass in a curve for the scaling to the health component that will then take the base health and multiply it out by whatever the curve is and set that to the new current health, right? So your health component should just be keeping track of the health. It shouldn't have any data related to entity scaling. That data should come from somewhere else. But you can definitely expose methods on the health component to make applying the health scaling easier. The other thing you could do is you could just create like a whole new, it wouldn't even necessarily need to be a component. You could create like a health scaling utility class or something where it contains all your formulas for doing the health scaling, and then you just like take the health component base health value, pass it through that utility class, get out a new max health value, and then set the health component to have that value, right? So your health component will still be useful for like emitting like a died signal or health change signal at runtime. But in terms of the initial configuration, the health that you configure on the health component will not necessarily be the health that actually exists at runtime, because it may be altered by scaling or whatever. But I guess the point that I'm trying to make is the health component should be agnostic as to any sort of scaling, right? The health component's job should be one thing: keep track of a health value. It can expose methods for other components and other code to change the health value, but it itself should not be concerned with the scaling of individual entities. That is a responsibility that should be handled by something else. Does that make sense? Honestly, love your content. Hats off to you. Thank you, 0x. Himit? Welcome. Super John Soto, welcome. Just subscribed to say your UI is clean AF. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad to hear that, because I have put a lot of effort into it. I still have a lot to do, but it's getting there. Just want to drop a nice message here for you. Thank you, Real Cruda. Keep up the great work. You inspire me to keep pushing with my games. That's great. I'm really happy to hear that. Currently on a 5 stream streak. Yeah. Awesome. That's great. You will attend the Firebelly stream every day, or you will be banned. Everyone has been warned. I'm kidding. Thank you for the great advice. You're welcome, Iron Eye Gaming. That makes sense. Good. Happy to help. All right. So what am I doing? I still don't have any ideas for what the animation would look like for the plus plus skill point thing, or plus unlock point. I might do some kind of like shake. So let's try this. I want to change the color of this flow. And by the way, this flow stuff is a shader that's basically just borrowing from my health globe and my alchemy shader. So it's basically just a rehash of that stuff, but changed so that it's going horizontally instead of vertically. So when we fill up the bar, I probably want to change these things. So left shadow color. So let's do red here. Let's do orange here. Wait a minute, is the shadow color not working anymore? Left shadow color, shadow color. Are you serious? Oh, no, it does work. You can't see it, but there's a tiny little 1 pixel. So this is just an artifact of the fact that this screen renders in high resolution. There is a tiny 1 pixel red line at the bottom, which will end up being a full pixel in the low resolution version, but when you're in the editor, it doesn't work. I really wish there was a way to set this screen to be like, what is the word I want to use? Like the same resolution as what your game will render at. Because like you could like rotate stuff in this screen. Well, I guess I can't rotate it, but it'll look nice and smooth, but then in the game it looks totally different. Anyway, that's not important. Base color. So maybe we'll change it to orange. Okay, I think I have a good idea. So we need to change shadow color, left shadow color, base color, and the highlight. So let's get rid of all this. Let's set it back to 0. Shadow color, left shadow color, base color, and highlight color. Static, read only, string name. This is the pain in the rear. Shadow color. Left shadow color. Read only, string name. Whoops. Right. No, what am I doing? Base color. Private, static. Read only, string name. Highlight color. Okay. Now the question is, do I want to expose a method where I have to explicitly mark it as complete? Or do I want to just check if the progress percent is 1? Let's expose a method for it. Public void set as complete. I'm going to pull this out. as a... Oh, I need the challenge progress. Son of a biscuit. Well, maybe I don't do that. I do need to... Well, I do need to update the progress label to text, though. So wait, maybe... Here's what I'll do. I'll just... bool set as complete equals false. Maybe we'll just do that. If set as complete, set as complete. Okay. All right, and then in here, well, we need to do this. If set as complete, we're going to do tween action set as complete. So I'm basically just going to have to pass my own flag as to whether this should be set as complete. So if we have set as complete and we're going to do the animation, we'll just append an action onto the tween. Otherwise, if we skip the animation, we'll just immediately set it. So in here, foreground material dot set shader parameter. Now I've got to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Whatever. I'm just going to do it manually. Shadow color, game constants dot color red. Left shadow color, red. Foreground material, set shader parameter, base color, game constants dot color orange. I don't need to change the highlight color. So background, set shader material, or set shader parameter, shadow color, game constants dot color purple. Left shadow color. This one doesn't really matter because you could never really see it, but that's okay. Background material, set shader parameter, base color, game constants dot color. Let's do red, and then background material dot set shader parameter highlight color, game constants dot color orange. Okay, so that should do that. Okay, so then in my run overview, let's go ahead and make this one to 100 as the current, and then we're going to need to go to my challenge progress toast. Is completed. Do I want to put... Let's do this. Var is completed is equal to previous progress dot... Actually, let's just do current progress dot current is equal to current progress dot max. Set as complete is completed. Okay. I don't really know why I need this. And actually what I'm going to do is I'll make sure that that sorting is working. So we'll just move this as the second one. So what it should do is it should show the completed challenges first. And actually, maybe I should just order it by, progress percent. Yeah, let's do order by descending. We don't care about this anymore. Let's just order it by not x.key, x.value.current divided by x.value.current.max. And we will cast this as a float. Okay. Ordered by completion percent. That should simplify things a little bit. Okay. Let's take a gander at that. I hope I did it correctly. If not, oh well. Man, so there's a couple of problems there. Is this tween parallel? Here we go again with Godot changing the... Why is that being set as complete? Why is that being set as complete? Update progress. Oh, I don't want to do that. Set as complete needs to go here. Right. And then the other problem is I actually want this to be white, I think. So this shadow color, let's make this color orange, base color, color white, color red, base color, color orange, highlight color, oops, white. Let's try that. Uh-oh, I'm probably shadow banned? No. Welcome, Story Pointer. I've changed one of my 3 fonts again. Sometimes it happens. It's because UI is his favorite thing to do. That's true. It's not true. Progressing on the meta progression system, meta progression. That's true. Dang. And I missed the animation. Progressing on the progress system. Okay, I don't know. Honestly, don't think the orange is working well here. So we'll just do color light green. This one will be color light green. Base color is, oh wait, no. Shadow color, color blue, color light green. Okay, let's try that. Okay, I think that works. So we need some kind of animation to show. Probably want to do something more exciting there as well. Some kind of like maybe shake or something. I'm just gonna, let me see. I want to see this more so I can think about it better. Oh, I need to do different. I already have acquire undead cards. Complete alchemy 1. Complete alchemy 2. Okay. Let me see what this looks like. Oh, we got a debugger error. Oh, it's not working at all. No challenge with ID win runs 1. What? Really? Really? How did that get missed? So 13 to 34. Is that? Well, it'd be 21, including that. So 22, is that right? Let's see. $24. So I have 24 challenge classes. Is that right? I have 24 challenge classes. What am I missing? All right, this is going to be easier if I just ask Claude. Are any classes that extend base challenge missing from this factory dict? Okay, we'll ask Claude what I'm missing. But let's just go ahead and look at this again. Those progress animations be smooth. Yeah, I like it. I think it's working. Game keeps looking better and better. Thank you, Blair William. How about making the bar a test tube and making the progress bar overflow and complete? Kind of on brand with the alchemy stuff. Yeah, that's going to require a lot of work, though. Why is this not... Did I copy the wrong thing? I think I copied the wrong thing. Mapping is exact. Okay, so I have everything I need. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to do something that looks good that also doesn't require a bunch of effort because I am running out of time to finish the game. But if I have time in the future, I can go back and revisit a lot of these things, but we gotta get the systems working. All right, I think I duplicated the wrong thing, so let's just do current equals 0, max equals 100, and then for this, current equals 100, max equals 100. And then for this one, we'll just, I don't know, we'll just do 50. So this one should be sorted last, so I'll just put this one like in the middle. Dictionaries are not, they don't have guaranteed ordering anyway, but I want to make sure that my sorting is working as well. Okay, that seems to be working. So now I need to do some kind of like maybe screen shake particles. I'm going to build that translation because that's annoying. All the challenges are now translation supported as well, which is an important thing to do. So it looks like it is sorting all of the completed ones. Cool. All right, that's looking pretty good. So we just need to think about what to do for the completion effects and whatnot. And also I need to show the player that they gained an unlock point. I just realized that maybe you guys can't really see that very well. Is my face in the way? Anyway, work on challenge progress completion. Okay, we fixed that issue. What are we going to do about this? I mean, I could just do the classic sheen effect. I could brighten. Ooh, I could brighten it up potentially. Maybe I'll try that. Let's see. Let's go to the challenge. Progress item. Let's just do... Oi. This file background, no. File holder and decoration. Okay. So we want the private 9 patch rect vial holder rect and node private 9 patch rect decoration rect. Set as complete. Visual utilities dot set dim get fade progress from step int. Duped fade out material. Set highlight level. Highlight level. Instance.duped canvas group fade highlight material. Duped fade highlight material. Progress level. Set progress. Is that all I need to do? Set highlight level of vial holder rect to 1. Set highlight level of decoration rect to 1. I wonder if that's going to work. One easy way to test it would be to just, in here, let's just call set, or let's do update progress. Skip animation true, set as complete true. It didn't work. Oh, there it goes. Do I like that? We'll just keep it for now, I suppose. Okay, so that's fine. Why does that... I don't know why that doesn't work. Highlight level. I'm not going to look into it. Whatever, it's fine. Whatever, it's fine. Okay. Like a Doro Dango, he's polishing it to a reflective surface. I don't know what a Doro Dango is. Dev error, yeah. Started learning to Claude as my intern, thanks. Started referring to Claude as my intern, thanks to you, yeah. How are you making the projectiles that fire after the mage appears? The projectiles that fire after the mage appears? I'm not sure what you're referring to. If you want to expand your question or mention exactly what you're referring to. I don't know which projectiles you're talking about. Reorganize some of my TSCN files and don't know how to fix the dependencies. I hope you always get... Yeah, it's usually a good idea to close anything that you're not using, especially if you're going to move things around, because Godot can be a little bit weird with that. How well does VS Code integrate with Godot? Is it worth using over the built-in editor? I think so. I mean, a dedicated IDE is just going to have a lot more built-in functionality for editing your code than Godot's editor ever will. I think Godot's editor is like competent, it's fine, but yeah, like you just get so much more functionality in a proper IDE. So I recommend it. It does have support for GDScript, yes. Hello, totally not brain rot. Welcome back. Source control is worth it. Yeah, source control is great. Where the mage appears in your progress screen. Oh, are you talking about the blue projectiles? External editors must. Yes, that's true. I mentioned this before, but I'm liking Writer for Godot. If I ever want to sell a game, I'd have to pay for the license, though. So is it the... So it's the blue projectiles here. So basically all this is those are line 2Ds. So that trail, it's actually called a trail component. So that is just a line 2D, but the trail component, as this moves through space, as I move it, it adds more segments to the line, but then removes segments from the end of the line based on a segment lifetime. So essentially for each, like every certain amount of distance it moves, it will place another point on the line 2D, and then it will also track the lifetime of each of the points or each of the segments, and it will remove those as the lifetime ticks down for each of those. And so then it's just a matter of moving these things. Like I use steering behaviors to move them. So they're basically just like given a rough target position, they're given some acceleration, some, you know, and the velocity is kind of calculated from all these different forces, and then you just kind of tweak that until you get them generally moving upward but still moving randomly. And then the trail component just naturally places more points on the line 2D as they go. And then the benefit of doing that is that you can do like a gradient texture for the line. So I can get like the bright part and then the, you know, the middle, I don't know what you would call it, the base color. So you've got like the highlight, the base color, and the shadow. And the cool thing about that is that because it moves relatively fast, you can't actually tell that these are discrete colors, even though that they are. So it kind of looks like just a smooth gradient line, but that's not actually true. It's 3 distinct colors. But yeah, that's basically it. That's the main thing. Definitely recommend creating a line 2D trail component for your project if it would work for you, because it's a pretty easy way of getting some nice effects. Doro Dango Wikipedia page. What are you making right now? We're working on the progress system. So this progress toast, which is looking pretty good, and then it highlights when it completes. So yeah, I'm okay with that, I think. I wonder if I should do like a sheen on it. Anyway, I want to do some more stuff too. I want to do like a shake for that. Do I want to do a shake? There needs to be something additional that happens, and I also need to show like +1 unlock point, right? I kind of have an idea for the +1 unlock point, but I think it's going to be quite annoying to do. But I'm going to try it anyway, and we'll see. I think it's going to be extremely and utterly and completely annoying, but I am the niche e-celeb, so I will do it for everyone's entertainment. That's nice, thank you. All right. So my idea is basically I'll take a back buffer copy. So I want to dim all this out at the same time, but I don't want to put this into a canvas layer, or a canvas group rather, because this could appear in a list of a bunch of other items, and I just don't want to overuse canvas groups because I think there is a slight performance impact to those things. So if I have like dozens of them all at once, that could be a problem. So I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do a back buffer copy here. We're going to copy the rect mode, and I'm going to have to define the rect. Now the thing about back buffer copy is that this rect is referring to a screen rect. Wait, disables the buffering mode. This means the back buffer copy node will directly use the portion of the screen that it covers. Buffers a rectangular region. What? That doesn't make any sense. Here I go being confused again. Disables the buffering mode. Means the back buffer copy node will directly use the portion of the screen it covers. What? I have no idea. Let's just do color rect. Canvas group fade out material. Canvas group fade. Oh, I need to make this. Well, this is local to scene. I'm just going to make this unique just in case. Okay. How on earth did that work? What? That doesn't make any sense at all. What? What happens if I get rid of the back buffer copy? What? Maybe the screen rect will break. I was not expecting this to work like that. That's a little bit concerning. I'll put the back buffer copy back. No, there's something weird going on. What happens if I do... No, this shouldn't be working at all. I don't understand this. See how it brightens up there? So there's something weird going on. Here I go being confused by back buffer copy again. Well, every time I think I have this under control, I don't know what the heck is going on. Okay, let's take a look. Again, we've been here before. Oh, do I want to make this... They show it as a child. I don't understand that. With correct back buffer copying, these two spheres blend correctly. Back buffer logic. If a node uses hint screen texture, the entire screen is copied to the back buffer before drawing that node. This only happens the first time. Subsequent nodes do not trigger this. If back buffer copy node was processed before the situation in the point above, even if hint screen texture was not used, the behavior described in the point above does not happen. The automatic copying of the entire screen only happens if hint screen texture is used in a node for the first time and no back buffer copy node was found before in tree order. Okay. Back buffer copy could copy either the entire screen or a region. If set to only a region and your shader uses pixels not in the region copied, the result of that read is undefined. Okay. So... What? I'm pretty sure I'm using it correctly. Always something. What version of Godot are you using? 4.7. 4.7 mono. Another back buffer copy saga. Yeah, I don't know why. Every time I think I understand this, it doesn't work. Why does that happen? Why does that happen? That is not working the way that I expected to at all. Hello, Kapata Sensei. Hope dev is going well. Well, it was. See, that works, but then when I click to menu, it brightens up again. So that indicates that there's a problem. That shouldn't happen. So there's some kind of like... Oh, you know what I probably need to do? I probably need to do another back buffer copy here. Yeah. So that's a little bit weird. What happens if I turn this to disabled? I don't think the disabled... Okay, yeah. See, I don't... Is that text wrong? Disables the buffering mode. This means back buffer copy node will directly use the portion of screen it covers. What does that mean? When I said something disabled and then you say in the docs that it's going to directly use the portion of the screen when it's disabled, what does that mean? What does that even mean? Anyway, we're going to set that to disabled. Let me get a reference to that back buffer copy. I don't think I want the back buffer copy to be active. Back buffer copy, back buffer copy. Okay, when we fade out, screen rect. So here we want to do back buffer copy dot copy mode is equal to copy mode dot viewport. So we're going to only start copying it when we're actually doing the fade out, so we're not copying to the back buffer unnecessarily. So that should work. But the reason why I need a back buffer copy here is I want this region. So we've got the rect here. So we're going to change that to copy mode rect. Actually, we probably want that to be disabled too. Turn that off. Well, let's not get super fancy just yet. Public override void process. So I think what we want to do... Inner container. So let's get a reference to the back buffer copy. Let's also get a reference to the private, what is it? VBox container, inner container. So back buffer copy dot rect is equal to inner container dot get screen. So we want the screen transform.origin. And then we want the inner container.size, like that. That's kind of weird. Okay. Let's just see if that works. Okay, that does seem to work. Okay, so we'll set this to disabled. Set that to invisible. Back buffer color rect. Trying to think how I want to structure this. Well, I don't know. Looking at the doc for back buffer copy, I see what you mean. That text on the tooltip seems wrong according to the docs. Yeah, it does. It does. All right, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break. And when I come back, we will work towards this. Again, the whole reason I'm doing this is to have a way of showing the player like +1 unlock point or something. So yeah, I'm trying to set it up so I can do that easily. Hopefully we can get that working pretty well. But anyway, I'll be right back in just 3 minutes and we'll continue on. All right, let's see if we could get this going. Let's do this. Control region dimmer component. I have no idea if I'm going to use this in multiple places, but whatever. We will save this here. Back buffer copy. Okay. And we've got the back buffer copy here. Copy mode disabled, so we'll make it rect. This will just be full rect there. Interesting. Okay, so let me get rid of some of this stuff. Okay, so we've got the control region dimmer component. Close all here. Wonder why that switches to the script tab. Anyway. Node private back buffer color rect. No, what am I doing? Color rect. So process, we're basically going to take that same, we'll just take that same code, get rid of this. Yeah, we'll get rid of that. Okay. Actually, this is going to look pretty good, I think. Put this in here. We just do get screen transform.origin and then .size. Okay, public void dim. We're going to do visual utilities, set dim or fade out to value 1. So we want to fade out the back buffer color rect. Delay time to value is equal to visual utilities dot get progress from step int 3. Undim visual utilities dot fade in. Keep progress true. Okay, so I think the idea here, we get rid of these things. Wonder why that's still working like that. That's kind of weird. We'll add a resource preloader. Control region dimmer component. Put that in there. Okay, let's clear all this stuff. Clear. All right. Let's get a reference to that resource preloader. Cool. Okay, so set as complete. This is where I want to trigger the unlock point animation. I'm just going to do this for now. Private void play unlock point animation. Oops, I have to go do an errand. Oops. Well, let's see. I'm going to do a couple more minutes on this, so we'll see what's going on here. All right, so play unlock point animation. So this is where we're going to want to do control region dimmer component. Okay, so control region dimmer component is equal to resource preloader instantiate scene or null control region dimmer component. We're going to want to add that child control region dimmer component. Okay, var tween is equal to create tween, tween.tween action, control region dimmer component dot dim, tween.tween interval. We'll just give it a 0.5 like that. Okay, I'm gonna need to display now, I don't know, some text or something. Let's just put a label in here for now. +1 unlock point. We're just going to do this very, very quickly. So we've got the unlock point label. This needs to be invisible by default. Let's grab a reference to that. Private label unlock point label. Okay. Then we're going to take, let's just force that to invisible just in case. So unlock point label dot visible is equal to false. So then in here, we're going to tween that interval. We're going to say tween dot tween action. Unlock point label dot visible is equal to true. Unlock point label dot visible character ratio. Visible ratio is equal to 0. Tween property, unlock point label, string label dot property name dot visible ratio. And we're going to go to 1 over 0.5 seconds. We're going to do dot out dot back. Tween dot tween interval 0.5, tween property, unlock point label visible ratio 0, out back, tween dot tween action, unlock point label dot visible is equal to false, control region dimmer component dot undim. And then tween interval. Control region dimmer component dot Q free. Okay. Play unlock point animation. Alrighty, let's see if it works. Run overview. Run overview, thank you. Let's see if it breaks. Not even close. Not even close. Oh, it's not even close. Why is that not working? See, this is what I'm talking about. I don't know why that doesn't work. Control region. I'm pretty sure this is a screen region, but I could be wrong. What's the advantage of C# over GDScript? There isn't a core advantage. It's just personal preference. There's a bunch of advantages when it comes to tooling and developer experience. What the fudge? I just think it's easier to build games in C# compared to GDScript because of all the structure you get. Why in the world, like, why is it that every time I want to use a back buffer copy, it just never works the way that I expect it to? Why is that, like, without fail? It doesn't matter how many times I use it. It doesn't matter in how many places I use it. It never works the way that I expect it to. Why is it so convoluted? I don't understand this. What the fudge? Oh, I know why. It's not using the canvas. Yes. It's not using... Is screen rect. I guess I'll just make this a screen rect then. It's not really accurate, but... So the problem is it was applying the wrong shader. I need to use a shader that references the screen texture, but the shader that's being applied by Visual Utilities is not. It's doing just a normal texture sample. So it was just changing the color of the whole rect instead of the back buffer copy region. So that's why it was not working. Let's see if this works. There's a little bit of a flash there, which is unfortunate. But it looks like it's going to work. A couple of problems. The unlock point is being captured by the back buffer copy. So that's unfortunate. And then there's that white flash there. So it must take a while before it properly initializes. So the easy fix to that is just to take this color and just all the way down, right? So that's an easy fix. In terms of... Okay, that's going to look pretty good. Let me just get the positioning correct on this text now. Can I add this? So instead of add child, so can I do add sibling right below this node? So add sibling inner container. Do I not have a reference to the inner container anymore? What? Okay. Node private vbox container inner container. Okay, so we want to do inner container, add sibling, control region dimmer component. And then we got to mess with the timings and whatnot, but that's all part of the fun, you know? Hello, Amin Play Entertainment. Welcome. Good to see you. Okay, that looks pretty good, actually. So obviously the timings and everything needs to be adjusted. Probably want to add some more effects on there as well. But I would say that that's pretty good, actually. More adventures in the freaking back buffer copy land, I guess. So, like, I guess I do understand how back buffer copy works. It's just there are so many variables that affect whether a back buffer copy is going to work or not that it's like really hard to wrap your mind around. But I think the major thing to understand about back buffer copy, and I'm just going to repeat this just for my own understanding, is that back buffer copy will copy everything that's been rendered to the screen at the moment that it's processed. And things are rendered to the screen in tree order, right? Everyone that's worked with Godot knows how you control the rendering order with the order of the nodes. So when the back buffer copy is encountered in the scene tree, it will copy everything that is either in the screen region that you define with this rect. So this back buffer copy is a node 2D, but its position has no effect on anything. So don't get confused, like this is very misleading. The rect is the screen area that you want to cover. So if you just want to copy a certain section of the screen, you use the rect mode, you have to put everything in screen coordinates, etc. But once the back buffer copy has copied something to the back buffer, the next node that has a shader that reads the screen texture is going to read the region copied by the back buffer. So that's the texture that you're going to get. And yeah, that's basically it. And viewport mode just captures the entire viewport texture. So that's why, like, when I want to fade out the entire screen, I have this back buffer copy here that gets set to viewport mode when I'm ready to start copying to the back buffer, because this screen rect will read the screen texture from the back buffer copy. The reason I need that there is because if I didn't have any other back buffer copies in this tree, then this screen rect would work the first time I read the screen texture. The first time any shader reads the screen texture and there's no back buffer copy that precedes it in the processing order, that will capture the entire screen texture at the moment that shader is processed for that frame. But as soon as you have anywhere in your subtree where you have a back buffer copying being used, in order to get the screen texture again later in the tree, you have to do another back buffer copy with viewport mode. So I'm pretty sure I understand how back buffer copy works. It's just, there's just all kinds of things that you have to think about. And the unfortunate thing is, like, it doesn't matter how deep this subtree is. Like, I could have a bunch of nested scenes and whatnot, and one of those scenes somewhere random could use a back buffer copy. And if I'm not aware of that, the screen rect will break or behave weirdly if I don't have another back buffer copy to copy or to capture the new state of the screen. So anyway, so what I probably should do just for safety is I should probably change this screen rect so that it's a component, like a screen fade component, and then have a back buffer copy built into it automatically. So that way I never run in, like, this just feels very brittle if you're going to be using screen texture. Like, you have to be very certain that the texture you're getting is what you expect. So I think it would actually be a wise thing to, like, merge these things into a single component. That way I'm guaranteed that anytime I want to fade out the screen with a screen rect, for example, I'm always guaranteed that I'm going to get the most up-to-date texture of this screen that I can fade out. But anyway, so I do understand back buffer copy. It's just a little bit unintuitive sometimes. But anyway, work on unlock point animation. All this work just for animations, you know? Anyway, I have to go pick up the dog from the groomers. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. I may do a bonus stream this afternoon. As a matter of fact, I probably will. So keep an eye on the Discord for when I go live next. I'll put an announcement there. Otherwise, are you coming back? Yeah, I'll probably be back in a couple hours. I'm going to get the dog, go and get myself some lunch, and then I should come back after. So yeah, I was enjoying the explanation. Yeah, I'll be back probably. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. You can wishlist Alchemortis on Steam. The link for that is in the description below. There's going to be a playtest coming up real soon, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, thank you everyone, and bye-bye for now.